Good morning, students. Myself, Smita Mangesh Zunarkar. Now we will start with our imperative programming practical part 2. Already we have covered 3 practicals in my first video. Now we'll start with the fourth assignment and it's related to conditional statements and loop. Now within the students we are going to study advanced conditional statements. These are the programs which we are going to execute. First program is write a program to find the sum of square of digits of a number. Let's begin with this program. Whenever we will start with our programs, we required header files. So first header file which I have put, that is stdio.h. So this header file is providing me printf and scanf function. Next header file is my conio.h. So through this I can clear the previous output as well as with the help of getH function I will get my characters. Every program will begin with main function, so that's why over here I have put my void main. Now within the parenthesis of void main, we have to type our program. Now this program is basically to find out the sum of square of digits of a number. It is nothing but it will take the positive integer for n variable and sum the square of its digit. Now you can see, to get this, we require two variables, that is n as well as sum. So through n variable, user can enter the value and that n, that is your positive value, will sum the square of its digit. So for that purpose, we are using this process. So you can see over here, if the value whichever entered by user, if it is not equality to 0, then it will add that value within this sum as well as it will module by 10, then that number get divided by 10 and that value again it gets stored in n. Means basically students over here it is doing sum the square of its digit and that answer gets stored within my sum variable. So over here you can see I have entered the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So over here it is adding all these numbers and I am getting the sum of its digit, that is a number 15. Now I will move towards the next program. Let's start with next slide. Over here, this is a program to find out reverse the digit of an integer. Now basically this program, whichever number user will enter, it will reverse that number. So accordingly, we have to use the logic. So we are introducing the variable n. After that, through scanf function, user will enter the value for n variable. Now this printf statement will print as it is, that is a reverse of d. D is nothing but it's my prototype. %d is my prototype. So whichever number user will enter through n variable, it gets stored within this prototype. Getting it? So that's why this comma n is there. Okay. Now after that my while statement, if it is not equal to 0, then we want to find out the module of that n variable by 10. Then it will get divided by 10 and that answer gets stored within the same variable. And over here I have completed my parenthesis. Now you can see the output. So whichever number user will enter, it will reverse that number. Now we will move towards the next program, that is finding the sum of number from 1 to 100. Now sum of the number means it would be equal to the number of pairs. Means for example, if number 50 is there, so it will multiply by the sum of each pair, that is 50 multiplied by 101. So answer will become 5050. Am I right, students? So let's see this program, how to apply the logic over here. Now within this program we have used the user defined function. User defined function is nothing but the functions which are defined by user. So you can see over here the sum is a user defined function. Any name you can give for your user defined function, but it get divided into three parts. That is, first of all we have to declare that function, then you have to call that function through main function, and finally we have to define that function. You can do define and declaration within one part also, or you can use differently. As soon as you will give the semicolon sign at the end of that function, it indicates declaration of that function. Students, you can do this part over here also. So you can skip declaration also. Now we have declared the function, that is a sum function. Now after that my main function is there. Over here, through a variable, user can enter the upper limit, that is a maximum number limit user is entering over here. Now after that, through printf statement, this statement will print as it is. I want to print my number, whichever number user will enter, as well as I want to find out the sum of that particular number. Now over here you can see we have just declared the function and we are calling that function. But students, we have to define it. Means through this sum function, which things we want to process. So this is my part of my process. You can see over here once again we are introducing int sum int. So it's nothing but my data type. So through sum function, integer value get written, and within this prototype, this is called as a function prototyping. Over here we are passing some dummy variable, that is a n variable. Now within this function we are introducing two variables, that is a I and s. For s variable we are declaring 0 value. After that we have used the for loop. Over here within this for loop, I variable is holding value 1. If 1 is less than and equal to n, means whichever number n is nothing but the parameter which we have passed. So if it is equal to n, then it will go on incrementing. Now s variable is holding value 0. So 0 plus I. So 0 plus 1, it get added over here and answer will return to s. So s is nothing but my variable which we have used over here within my sum function. So return statement can be various type. Now over here it is returning answer to the variable. If you want, through this return statement, the answer should return to the sum function. So you can mention over here that also. Now this is the output. Over here we are entering the upper limit 100. So sum of that number, that is a 1 to 100 number, we are getting the answer 5050. Means basically over here it would be equal to the numbers of pair 50. So it will multiply each pair, that is a 101, multiply by 50, and accordingly I am getting my answer, that is a 5050. Now we will move towards the next program, that is write a program to print Fibonacci series. Now Fibonacci series is nothing but it's a series of number in which each number is the sum of the two preceding numbers. Now means, for example, if we have added one number, so 1 plus 1 equal to 2. You can see over here within the output, 1 plus 0 means 1, 1 plus 1 2, 2 plus 1 3, 3 plus 2 5, and so on. It will go on continuing according to your number which we have entered for your Fibonacci series to print. So basically within the Fibonacci series, each number in which they are finding the sum of two preceding numbers. Now let's see the program. Over here we are introducing n variable, I1, I2, Fibonacci as well as I. So these are my variables which we have initialized over here. Through n variable, user is entering the number. Now over here, we want to find out the Fibonacci series. That's why we have already declared the value for I1 variable 0 and I2 variable 1. So by default, it will print 0 and 1. You can see over here within the output. So 0 and 1 by default it get printed because already we have declared the value for both the variables. Now after that my process is there, for loop is there, we are initialize I variable value 3. So if that 3 is less than n means nothing but the number which user have entered. So it will go on incrementing through I plus 1 and I plus 2. That is I1 and I2. And that answer will store within the Fibo variable. So that we want to print it. So every time we want to increment I1 plus I2. So accordingly we are getting the output over here. Now I will move towards the next program, that is reverse the digit of the number. Now over here, whichever number user will enter, it will reverse that number. So over here, this is a formula, or you can say process is there. So this is a process which we have used over here, that is while condition is there. If n is not equal to 0, then it will find out the mode of 10 and it will divide by 10, and that answer will store within the n variable, and then automatically with the help of this processor I will get the reverse of my entered number. Now I will jump towards the next program. This program is to find out whether the given number is palindrome or not. Palindromes are nothing but the number which we have entered. If you will reverse that number is the same. You can see over here 515. If you will reverse that, same number you will get. That is called as a palindrome. Okay. So for that we have to use the logic. Now over here we are introducing the variables, that is n, r, sum equal to 0. So for some variable we have declared the value 0 and TMP variable. So through n variable, user is entering the number. Now that number will store within the TMP variable. Now over here we are using while condition. If that number, whichever number user have entered, if it is a greater than 0, then we want to process this data, that is r equal to n module 10, sum equal to sum multiplied by 10 plus r, n equal to n divided by 10. So this process we want to do over here. Now if the entered, whichever number user have entered, that is equal to sum, then it will print that number is a palindrome. And if this condition is not satisfying, it will jump towards the else statement, that is this number is not palindrome. So you can see over here the output. Through this you will get the idea. Now we will see about the program to solve the quadratic equation. This is an equation which we have to solve. Basically, quadratic equation is simply just to ax raised to 2 plus bx plus c equal to 0. So in this term of x, so the root of ax root 2 plus bx plus c equal to 0. So this would be quadratic equation in which minus b plus minus root b modules by 2 minus 4ac divided by 2a. So this logic over here we are using, and through which I am getting the answer. Now students, over here we have to use the equations. Means over here we require to enter 3 different variables. You can see over here a, b and c. These are my 3 variables, and through this variable user is entering the numbers. Now over here, with the help of this process, the compiler will check whether its a root are real or not, and it will find the root of quadratic equation by using this formula. So you can see over here, when user will enter the number, it will process my data, that is A equal to B multiplied by B minus 4 multiplied by A multiplied by C. Now if the D is less than to 0, so this equation, whichever process we have mentioned, that value gets stored within D variable. So if the D is less than 0, then it will go for this, that is the roots are complex number. Now over here, roots are quadratic equation, so this will print when over here this process get satisfied. Now this is finding for the square of that particular quadratic equations, and if this condition is not satisfying, then it will jump towards the else part, that is roots are equal number. You can see over here the output. Now I will move towards the next program, that is to find out whether the entered number is Armstrong or not. Armstrong number is a number that is equal to the sum of the cubes of its digit. Means for example 0, 1, 153, 370, 371, 407 are the Armstrong number. Now let's see how we will get this Armstrong number. Students, you can see over here that I have entered the number 317 and I am getting the output. It's an Armstrong number. First of all, we will see how we will get this Armstrong number. Okay. Now for example, we will take the same number, that is a 371. So over here my n is 3, because 1, 2 and 3 numbers were there, am I right? So 3-digit number is there, so that's why n value become my 3. So over here, how basically it will execute, it will multiply this 3 thrice, okay, plus it will multiply 7 again thrice, because my 3-digit number is there. So how many digit numbers you have entered, it will multiply that number by its. Now last number is my 1, so it will multiply 1 again by thrice, okay. So I will get 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3. So over here I am getting answer 27 plus 7 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 7. So my answer become 343 plus 1 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1, that is 1. So if you will add this number, you will get the same number, that is a 31371. So that's why it's a Armstrong number. Getting it? So basically, to find out the Armstrong number, we have required this formula, that is 3 raised to 3 plus 7 raised to 3 plus 1 raised to 3. So this logic we have used over here, and accordingly I am getting the number is Armstrong or not. Now I will move towards the next program. Next program is to find out this is a program to count the digits in a number. Now whichever number we have entered, it will find out or it will count total digits which we have entered. So over here logic is while condition we have used. Whichever number user will enter, it gets stored within this while. That number will divide by 10. Through count variable, it will go on incrementing, and that count will we have mentioned within the printf statement. So ultimately I am getting my output. Now I will move towards the next program in my next video. Student, hope this assignment 4 is clear to you. If you want to visit my previous video, the link I already have shared with you. Hope your doubts are clear. Thank you students for watching my video.